Alright.
In this video I'll talk a bit about creating a perfect party. Having a good build for one character is important, but having a good party composition is even more important. As in most other RPGs, you need to understand some basics in order for this to work. Every party needs to have a tank, a healer/support that will buff and heal at the same time, couple of DPS characters with varied types of DPS, and fifth one can be whatever you want it to be. Until you get better understanding of classes, I suggest sticking to single class builds, especially for predefined characters, because they have attributes all over the place. But if you want to create a specific one, your own one, where you can redistribute anything, you need to go to the tavern and recruit people there. Custom recruitable characters are one level lower than your main guy. The most important thing to understand is that classes do not define roles, attributes and chosen abilities do. Yes, some classes are especially good at doing something like rogues as DPS, but you can also create a rogue of tank, that means a second tank in your party that can also do a lot of DPS. As you can see here, it says for a priest that priest can only be a support role, which is bollocks. They can be a fantastic DPS character. Same goes for paladin, it says major role support and minor role defender. And yet, you've seen the build probably, I've created a bastard of a DPS character. As I've already mentioned, you do not need to worry about attributes with predefined characters that you meet throughout the game and recruit them in your party. So there's one less thing to worry about, I guess. I suggest for predefined characters to just stick to their primary class, because their attributes are already defined and complement that class. For example, Shoti as a priest, Eder as a fighter, and so on. If you want to create a DPS character, then Might is the attribute that you need the most. Might increases damage done from all sources, be it spells, melee attacks, ranged attacks, and also it increases healing done. The only ones that really don't need might in any way are the tanks, because you are not here to deal damage, you are here to survive. Resolve is the complete opposite of might. Resolve is a stat that is mostly used for melee characters and especially tanks. Tanks need resolve, because you get deflection rating, will bonus and also decreased hostile effect duration. All of them really important stats for a good tank. Constitution is good for everyone, but usually ranged DPS characters or healers do not need this stat. It's mostly used for melee classes and also it's the vital stat for tank. Now you have dexterity and perception. Both of these stats are really important for a DPS character because these two stats give you faster recovery time, that means more attacks, and also increased accuracy. Accuracy raises obviously a chance to hit. Every attack in Pillars of Eternity depends on your chance to hit, that means accuracy versus character's defense, be it fortitude, reflex, will or deflection, depends on the type of attack that you're trying to hit them with, plus a random roll that the game decides for itself. You cannot influence that roll in any way, at least I believe so. So you combine your chance to hit plus the roll that the game gives you. If that number combined is at 100 or above 100, then you're gonna score a critical hit. Critical hits do 25% more damage and they also give you 50% more penetration rating. This can be increased with some items that will increase crit damage. So to have high chance of scoring critical hits, your chance to hit needs to be high. That means you need to have high accuracy rating. Intellect is very important stat for spellcasters. It increases duration of some skills. For example, if you shapeshift with Druid into an animal, then it's gonna increase the time that you can stay in that form. It also increases area of effect. So that means if you throw down a fireball, area of effect of the fireball will be wider if your intellect is higher. As for the abilities, I mean, I can't really go through every class in this video, it would be ridiculous. You learn best what works for what type of playstyle from the builds and also by simply reading the description of these abilities. The only tip I can give you here is for passives. If you want a tanky character, then choose these defensive options like increased fortitude, will, reflex and so on. That's gonna help you a lot for survivability. If you're a ranged character, then I would suggest to not focus on these passives, instead focus on passives that would complement your playstyle, be it as a healer, support or DPS. This was just an overall look on how to define your character's role. That's why I went through all the attributes. Now there are other things that will also help you with defining roles and what these bastards in battle will do. For example, AI. You can activate AI for every character so that you don't need to do anything. To be honest, it's kinda OP. I tried playing with AI for every single character active, and as long as I picked the right behavior, they were kicking living shit out of everything that I've encountered so far. It was actually getting pretty boring. In this game there are two predefined behavior scripts. One is aggressive, the other one is curious. You can put both of them on the same character and then list them how you want the character to behave. If you want him to first use the aggressive behavior, then afterwards curious, you can do that. You can also create your own scripts and copy the existing ones and then changing some values. Aggressive ones are good for tanks, DPS characters and so on. Curious ones are good also for tanks, healers, support classes and so on. My suggestion would be this. Turn off AI for one or two characters in the party so that you can control them, while the rest should be under AI. That will make it much easier for you to focus on that one or two characters that you're controlling and learn the abilities that are fantastic to use at certain situations. That's gonna bring your understanding of the game to higher levels, because controlling all 5 characters all the time would be a huge time investment, and also if you don't have good understanding of the game, your head would explode from all the information. Weapons in this game are not restricted to certain class, and weapon proficiencies don't do anything except give you a chance to use modal abilities if you're proficient with that weapon type. Characters can have multiple weapon sets. That is important to understand. For example, you have a rogue that's doing pierce damage with daggers, and then you fight skeleton who is completely immune to pierce damage. You're gonna have to switch to your other weapons. On that same rogue, I have 2 sabers in my second weapon set, so I just switched to sabers and now I'm doing slash damage. It's important to understand that you need to have a variety of damage types. Same goes for spells. If you have 2 spellcasters in your party, it's good to have one that is good with fire attacks, the other one that is good with electricity attacks, for example. Modal abilities can be very good if you have a strongly defined character. For example, tank should have proficiency in large shield. That way you're gonna receive the wall ability. The wall ability will make you immobile, but your resistances towards ranged weapons will go through the roof. My point is that everyone can use every type of weapon, but the modal abilities will increase the effectiveness for certain playstyles. There is also a matter of armor and what type you should wear. Well, math is simple here, it's all about the recovery and armor rating. The heavier armor, more armor rating it will have, but it will also have high recovery time, which is bad. Recovery time is the time that the character takes between actions. As you already probably figured out, low recovery time, that means less time in between actions, is a must for DPS characters, while it's not that relevant for tanks and some off-tank builds as well. Well, that's basically it. I'm gonna show you a bit of this demonstration part. Here I'm fighting enemies that are far beyond my team, at least they should be. This is Torkar, and as you can see, every enemy that I hover over with the mouse has 3 skull icons. That usually means avoid at all costs. This is an example on how even such enemies on veteran difficulty can be defeated without any issues. I've sent tank in front to solo tank the group of enemies. while the rest are dealing with the stragglers who are not in that group. So I'm picking off the rest of the characters while also doing AoE damage to everyone that's on the tank, because they're all closely bunched together. In the meantime, I'm healing with priest, buffing everyone, improving them in any way I can. Status effects are very important in fights, because you can put some nasty debilitating effects on your opponents, such as dazed, blinded, hobbled, and some of them, like blinded and hobbled, will add flanked debuff, which makes enemy far easier to kill. If you see mages in enemy groups, especially priests, try to take them down as fast as possible, so focus your DPS characters and ranged DPS ones to go at them and finish them as fast as possible. In this example, you can see me breaking away from the group and trying to kill those two sharpshooters who are doing whatever they want. So I decided to pay them a visit with a couple of nasty spells and finish them off quickly. Really, that would be all. I hope this video helps you. There are lots of things to digest probably, so take it slowly if you need. Pause the video when necessary, just so that you can soak up the things that I've said in this video. I mean, most of them are basics, but it can be complicated. Trust me, it is complicated to me as well, and I'm the one who should be doing guides. Thank you all for watching, and happy hunting.